Hello, it's Courtney, your Cosmic Connection Guide, and today we are right at November 1st. So I thought, why not give you a little astrological update as to what's happening in the cosmos for the month of November. So here we are. The fun thing about this month is that we finally see the sun moving into a different sign. So that's the first thing that we're going to chat about actually, is the sun. The sun has been within the constellation Virgo since middle-ish of September. So tomorrow, the 2nd, the sun is going to move into Libra, and this is going to bring about a lot of balancing energy, especially in the way that we portray ourselves to others. So it's all coming together and it's going to feel really nice to move out of that Virgo energy into that Libra energy, and the sun's going to stay in Libra for the remainder of the month, and we'll talk about what happens to the sun in December next month. We also have something super exciting, at least for me. This is the most exciting part about this month, and that is Saturn stations direct. I have been waiting for Saturn to station direct since before it even went retrograde. I don't know about any of you, but I'm currently within my Saturn return right now. And while it has been a whirlwind and frustrating at times, it has also helped me to get into alignment with what I'm really supposed to be doing and who I'm really supposed to be, my authentic self. So when things go into retrograde, when planets go into retrograde, it's not necessarily meant for us to fear. In fact, if you're fearing something in retrograde, then I don't think that you have all of the information personally. All it means is that we're going to take a look at things and we are going to slip back into alignment if we aren't already in the right direction. And if you are in alignment, then the retrograde's actually going to help you to boost forward in whatever area of life that retrograde is happening in, and how it aligns with your own chart. So if you in True Sky Astrology have your Saturn in Aquarius, it is a wonderful time for us because Saturn stations direct on November 4th, so that's on Saturday. And he's also staying within Aquarius, so we're going to have a lot of that like quirky feel and that eclectic feel, and I think that's something to embrace as you're moving forward with things like long-term goals and projects. Have a little bit of fun with it. Saturn is about structure, sure, and planning, but Aquarius brings that quirkiness to it. So as long as you're pairing those two together, where we have a plan for the future, but we're going to do it our way, that's really what matters with that. So next up, I'm going to leave the moon for last. I've got my little cheat sheet here so that I remember all the dates and everything, because there's one thing that I could tell you about me, it's that I don't have the best memory. Especially when it comes to dates. So if I had come out here without my little cheat sheet, I would have not been right with dates at all, and I want to be right. At least in this sense. So we're gonna head on to the moon last, but let's take a look at Mercury. Mercury just entered not too long ago the constellation Libra. We were in Virgo for quite some time. We're gonna fly through Libra, and Mercury is actually going to go into Scorpio on November 10th, and this is going to help us to delve into our subconscious and really finesse the way that we socialize, finesse the way that we communicate. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then later in the month, Mercury only is going to be in Scorpio for about a week, because on the 16th, 17th of November, Mercury is going to enter Ophiuchus. And if you're new here and you don't know True Sky Astrology, I should have put this at the beginning, but here we are. Glad you made it this far for this explanation. But True Sky Astrology is really about looking up at the sky and seeing what's going on, where planets are aligned within constellations at that point in time. So when I say True Sky Astrology, I am literally looking at the sky and saying the moon is sitting within this specific constellation, or Mercury is sitting specifically within Libra right now. Western astrology, while it has its place, is based on the calendar system and the seasons that are man-made, and not necessarily based on astronomical astrology. The astrology that I chat about is called True Sky, True Sidereal, 13 Moon, 13 Sign. It's known by a lot of different names. I call it True Sky Astrology because that's what we're doing. We're looking at the sky and what's true about the sky. So one of the things within True Sky Astrology that kind of blows people's minds is that there are not 12 constellations, there are actually 13. And that 13th constellation sits between Scorpio and Sagittarius, and her name is Ophiuchus. And she is a beautiful, dark, feminine, powerful sign. We're talking like hidden and illusions. Like, she specifically works with the energy of the serpent, and removes the mask, removes the illusion, removes any of the hidden things that we're meant to be seeing. And so that's a little bit about True Sky Astrology and Ophiuchus. And the point of all of that is Mercury is moving into Ophiuchus at or on November 16th, 17th-ish, overnight. So what that means is that our socialization and communication, things are going to be illuminated. Things are going to come out of the shadows. So be very aware of the way that you communicate while Mercury is in Ophiuchus, and be aware of how others communicate with you as well. Mercury is not going to be in Ophiuchus for very long, about another 10, 12 days, something like that. I'm also not good at math. That's another thing that I can tell you right off the bat. I can't do mental math. I need a calculator in front of me. But anyways, on November 29th, Mercury will move from Ophiuchus into Sagittarius, and that's going to help us explore the fiery energy within us and our communication, our socialization. So we're probably going to amp that up again, but it's going to be based out of wisdom and knowledge, and that's because we have had those hidden truths identified through Ophiuchus. So that's what's going on for Mercury this month. And Mercury is not going to go into retrograde until December, so that's another good thing about this month. Next, we're going to go into Venus. Venus is currently within the constellation Leo and has been for quite some time. She spent some retrograde time in there as well, but finally she's going to be moving into Virgo on November 3rd. So there's a lot going on at the beginning of the month already, right? We have the Sun moving into Libra on the 2nd. We have Saturn stationing direct on the 4th. We have Venus entering Virgo on the 3rd. And then we have we have Mercury moving into Scorpio on the 10th. So within the first 10 days, we already have a lot of energy moving. And this is good. This is very good. So Venus is moving into more practical, structured, routine-oriented Virgo. Venus is our planet of relationships, both within and without. So our relationships to ourselves, our connections with others, and also like our service to others. So it's a very like service oriented planet. How are we going to serve ourselves? How are we going to serve others? And with that planet being in Virgo, we're going to do that in a very practical and structured way, versus being in Leo, which it happens in a much more amped up, fiery way. Just because to me, Leo feels very goddess-like and very like, I don't know the word, but it's just like, it's kind of in your face. It's very energetic and like, all right, we're gonna go. That's what Leo energy feels like to me. So that's what's happening with Venus. And then Mars, Mars is currently in the constellation Libra. He just moved into the constellation Libra from Virgo not too long ago, about a week ago. And Mars is our fiery warrior. He is connected to our root chakra. He is connected to the way that we react and respond to aggression, the aggression within ourselves, the aggression within others. Very much related to our sense of stability, our sense of safety, very secure in ourselves and in our lives. So right now he's within the constellation Libra. We're finding a lot of balance after being through Virgo, which is super structured, Leo, which is super fiery and amped up energy. So we need Libra after those two signs especially. They're a lot. They're very energetic and strong, powerful signs. So we need that Libra to come in and be like, all right, we just learned a hell of a lot of things. How do we integrate and balance that into our lives? And so we're going to stay there until the 23rd of November, which is right around Thanksgiving time for those in the US. And at that point, Mars is going to enter Scorpio. And this is going to allow us to feel a lot of intense emotions, including our aggression, intense feelings about where we feel secure and insecure in our lives. But we're also going to find a lot of passion and determination in how to move forward with all of that knowledge that we're gaining and integrating into our lives as it relates to things that root us in our lives. So lots happening with the luminaries, which is the sun and the moon, and the inner planets, which is Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Moving to the outer planets, I'm going to preface this with, we have 5 of our outer planets in retrograde right now. And not very long ago, we had all of our outer planets in retrograde. And so everything that I say here and everything that I say in this video in general is for the collective, and it might affect you personally on a different level. A lot of times when I am explaining these things in my head, I'm saying, I don't feel it that way though. But as a general whole, that's how the energy is felt. So all of these movements will affect you in different ways depending on where those signs or planets are within your birth chart. So, and also the retrogrades definitely affect that. So we have Jupiter. Jupiter is in retrograde within Aries. So we have a lot of that fiery energy of Aries, and really that retrograde is telling us to let go of all of our beliefs that we have, and expand on them, right? How can we How can we find expansion within ourselves, our thoughts, our beliefs, our patterns, our routines, right? How can we find expansion within those things that are very human, and approach that with the courage behind the fiery energy. So that's what's happening with Jupiter. I'm also, I should have prefaced this earlier before Jupiter, but that's okay. Here we are. All of the planets that are outer planets, so everything that I'm going to chat about from Jupiter onward, these are slow moving, right? They are farther away, so they take longer to move around the sun, and they take longer to move through constellations. So we don't have any outer planets that are going to be changing signs at all this month. So I'm just giving you an idea of what the energy is going to be like for that. Okay, so then we have Saturn, right? And we just talked about Saturn moving direct in Aquarius. Saturn has been in Aquarius for what seems like forever, and it really has been. But the fun thing about Saturn is it helps us with our long-term goals, right? So there is that structure there, there's the stability there of long-term planning. And the reason that it's important important to mention that Saturn's going direct is because we may be feeling unsure about our futures. It may be that everything that you've been planning has blown up and is not necessarily in the cards anymore, or maybe things just look really, really different for a long-term approach, long-term goals. And with Saturn coming out of retrograde, we're going to feel a little bit more secure in our future, and that to me is very important. I don't know about any of you, but it's very important to me. So that's Saturn. Next we have Uranus, and Uranus is an interesting planet because it's a rebellious planet. It's like how we deal with instability and change, but in a way that feels like we're rebelling. Yeah. So Uranus is also in retrograde, has been for a while, it will be for a bit. And right now, if you look in the sky, you actually are going to see Uranus on the line between Taurus and Aries. Before Uranus went into retrograde, it moved into Taurus and now has seemingly moved backwards and is swinging more towards Aries. So what this means and why I bring that up is because when we have planets on a cusp like that, it means that it's picking up energy from both signs. So we have like this amazing fiery energy of like, get things done, let's go. We're gonna do it. But it's being balanced with this like break, right? Like, hold on, we need to slow the hell down. And that's the bull, that is Taurus coming into play. So we have these two opposing energies happening right now. And I know, as somebody who did not grow up a rebel, but is finding rebellion in her adult era, I am currently struggling with that push and pull too, of like, I'm an adult and I need to do adult things, that fiery energy, and hold up, do you really actually need to do adult things? Are you sure about this? Like, can't we put on the brakes and have some fun for a minute? Because that's what I want to do. And that's obviously affecting me differently because of where Uranus is within my birth chart. So you might experience it a little bit differently, and specifically within which house Uranus is in within your birth chart. But it's still toying with that line of like, get shit done, rebel, right? So it may feel a little unsteady. It may feel like the ground is kind of crumbling a little bit, and that's okay. We're not going to be here for very much longer. For the whole month, though, of November, it may feel like that. But everything is just a phase. Everything is just a chapter, right? We will soon move into the next phase of this. So then we have Neptune, and Neptune is like our intuitive dreamer type planet. And Neptune is retrograde as well, and he is also within Pisces right now and has been for quite some time. So Neptune in Pisces really allows us to explore the watery depths, because Neptune is connected to water. Pisces is connected to water, so we've got a lot of water playing around in here. So that brings us the ability to explore spirituality, explore our intuition, and explore our dreams. So I also don't know about you all. Please let me know. Please let me know if you've experienced this. But I've been having like weird ass dreams lately, like super weird dreams. Some of them are super fucked up. But like, I personally believe that this is because Neptune is in retrograde and it's kind of fucking with my energy of my belief system. So let me know in the comments if you have experienced some weird ass dreams during the last couple of months, because I'm truly interested in seeing if this is just a me thing or if this is like a collective thing. Let's see. Next we have Pluto. So Pluto was in retrograde for a long time, finally stationed direct last month. Beginning of October, I think. I'm not good with dates, guys. I said that at the beginning. It was very recently, though. So Pluto is our messenger, right? Pluto is the planet, whether or not you think it's a planet. It's a celestial body, right? Like let's use common terms. That has everything to do with transformation. And right now, Pluto is sitting within the constellation Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is a very fiery sign. And really, what that feels like to me when a transformative planet is within a fire sign, it means we're going to burn up what no longer serves us and leave the ash, right? Because eventually we'll move into air and water signs, which will shift that away, right? And earth signs, which will transmute that energy into something else. So with Pluto being in Sagittarius, we're transforming a lot, and a lot of things are shedding in order for better things to come. So just know that if you're going through a really difficult time, it's going to be okay. Things will change. This is just a chapter. This is just a phase, right? Like I said, the next chapter is coming, all right? And it's going to be not as fiery. But so that's Pluto. And then we've got Chiron, which is the wounded healer. And Chiron is also in retrograde. And sorry, my alarm is going off, so we do this in real time. And now the lighting is a little weird. There we go. We're doing everything in real time. So Chiron is our wounded healer. Chiron's in retrograde within Pisces, and has been for some time. So with the wounded healer, I personally am seeing this in my line of work, and connecting with other people who have also said, I wonder why like I'm seeing all of these things. And I'm like, oh, it's Chiron. It is Chiron. We are wounded in and of ourselves, but we can still heal from that wounded place as long as we are aware that we are wounded, right? Like that we also have our own shit going on, that we aren't working on right now. I think healing is a lifelong process. That's my philosophy on healing. I don't think anybody is ever fully healed. I think that we go through phases and we strip back layers of healing. So Chiron helps us with this, right? We can be wounded and still have compassion. We can be wounded and still try to heal, right? And some of that like compassion and the go with the flow energy is coming from Pisces, right? So I don't know about you all. I'm on a healing journey, have been since birth, will be until the day that I die. But what's happening with my healing journey right now is I've been like, all right, you just do what you need to do. Like you just go with the flow. So getting that water vibe coming in to allow the healing process to flow as it should be instead of forcing it. So that's how Chiron and Pisces play. Now, go back to the beginning. We're gonna chat about the moon, and the moon is one of my favorite things to chat about. I've always been obsessed with the moon, and I had a specific memory this past weekend, doing a lot of reflection of like being in the car and wondering why the moon was following us. That was such a cute little thing. So I've always been obsessed with the moon, even since I was a little girl. I've always wondered like why it changes and how it changes and what that means and things like that. So I saved the best for last, in my opinion. Right now we just had the full moon eclipse at the end of October. We are in a waning gibbous stage. We will move into a last quarter moon on November 5th. And this is going to be in a couple of different signs, so I didn't write them out. But if you would like to know when the moon is in a specific sign, you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. And I typically throw things out there like that. Or if you would like, in the description below, I will link to three apps that I use on my phone to bring this information to you. And you can see in the sky where things are. So you can like look for the moon and be like, all right, the moon is within this constellation. So with the last quarter moon, we're waning, right? So we're moving from full to new. Last quarter moon is about just another step towards rest, right? We're releasing anything that's not serving us. We are not doing the things that don't feel good for us. And we're starting to get into a more reflective phase. So that's November 5th. We're gonna move from the last quarter moon into a waning crescent a couple of days after that. And then finally, we're going to go to the new moon. And the new moon is taking place on November 13th. And the moon is going to be within the constellation Libra. So if we look to the sky on November 13th, we're going to see the new moon sitting inside Libra's boundaries. And what this means is we are embracing harmony and balance from that Libra energy, but we are also, because it's a new moon, setting intentions for those things, right? So what do we want to bring in for this new cycle, this new phase that is upon us now, and how can we incorporate balance and harmony into that? So that's what the new moon is asking us to do this month. Then from the new moon, we are going to wax, right? So we go from waxing crescent, and then we have the first, I said that weird, the first. We have the first quarter moon on November 20th. And again, from waxing crescent to the full moon, it goes through several signs. So look at those apps or check out my Instagram or Facebook to learn more information. So the first quarter moon on the 20th, and this waxing phase is really about starting to take action, right? So we're coming out of that rough. All right. We're coming out of that rest and reflection phase, and we're moving into more action-oriented things. So when you're in that waxing phase, you're starting to think, okay, what's one or two things that I can do today in order to get me to where my intentions and goals are for this cycle, right? So taking inspired, heart-centered action, aligned action, right? All right, we're almost done. Because then, so that's the 20th, we have the full moon in Taurus on November 27th. And this full moon is the beaver full moon, and that comes from Native American cultures and them noticing and being aware that beavers often took shelter in their lodges at this time of year because it's getting cooler. But we also have the energy of the full moon in general, right? So if we take away everything else and just look at, oh, it's a full moons are about gratitude, celebration, and like shifting, right? Because we're shifting from, wow, we just took so much action to, all right, now what does the second half of this cycle look like? And how can I slow down a little bit after this so that I can bring myself back into my cocoon for the new moon and have some time to reflect and relax. With the moon being in Taurus, we are feeling that energy so much more because Taurus, being the bull, is all about slow, steady groundedness, right? So I would say for this full moon, take some extra time to prepare. If you're doing a ritual or a ceremony, take some extra time to center and ground yourself on the days leading up to the full moon, on the full moon, and the days right afterwards as well. So like I would say maybe take 5 days or so and be like, all right, we are making centering and grounding an absolute priority. And then just making sure that you're celebrating the little wins and expressing gratitude for everything in your life and everything that's to come. So, in a nutshell, that's what's happening in the cosmos this month. And it's going to be possibly a little bit of a bumpy ride, but we're going to get there, my friends. You're going to get there, and it's going to be all right. If you liked this, please like the video and let me know. If you have questions or you want to share any of your experiences with how the cosmos has influenced you this month, please share them below. I'd love to hear. And if you're looking to figure out, well, how is this going to affect me personally, book your True Sky astrology reading. I will have that linked below in the description as well. I hope you have a wonderful month. Happy November, and I will see you soon.